Welcome back to Power Director Made Simple. Today's video is going to be like having some leftovers for dinner. I thought maybe you might enjoy seeing a short collection of just some random tips about using Power Director. And just for everybody to know, to begin with, there was another update issued around January 14th, the third for this month. I haven't found anything noticeable from the previous versions, so I imagine this was just some sort of obscure bug correction. There is no new content in this latest update, so I wouldn't worry about it. Now, moving on with the tips. Perhaps you might say, "What the heck, I already know that," or maybe, "Hey, that's kind of nice to know." So here they are in no particular order. Tip number 1, always use CAM, the CyberLink Application Manager, to check for program updates. Do not do it from within the Power Director program. If you check from within Power Director, it will probably lie to you and indicate that you are up to date. But when you check from CAM, it may tell you that there is indeed an update available. I already have CAM running, so here's a look at CAM in action. It tells me that I am up to date. Now, while in CAM, I should also check for updates to the effects packs, especially if there is a red ball indicating that there's something here that you don't have. Now, every once in a while, there is an update to one of the effect packs that you may have already installed. But in my case, it's only about 2 Chinese packs that I have not installed, and there are no updates to any of the other installed packs. So I can safely close CAM and return back to Power Director. Tip number 2, use Save As, not Save Project. Now each time, make sure to use another version number to the project, such as project version 1.pds, project version 2.pds, and so on. This method allows you to create a new version of your project while preserving the previous one. This is especially useful if you want to experiment with edits, but may want to revert to an early one later. Another important reason is that project files can sometimes become corrupted due to crashes or software errors. Saving multiple versions using Save As ensures that you have a working backup to fall back on if one file gets corrupted. Now, tip number 3. Did you ever wonder exactly how long a particular clip on the timeline was? Did you try doing the math based on the starting position and the ending on the timeline? You know, something perhaps that ends at 4 minutes, 10 seconds, and 19 frames, but begins at 1 minute, 50 seconds, and 2 frames? Just how long is that? I'll show you how long on the timeline. The easy method is to just hover the mouse cursor over the clip name on the far left side of the clip on the timeline to display the exact start, end, and duration times. If you hover over any other part of the clip, this information does not appear. Now, this tip applies to all types of clips that you may have on the timeline. Tip number 4. One tip that I like to stress is for users to create project files and then move a copy of all media files into the project folder before they begin the project. Now here's a look at my project folder for a video that was created around Christmas time, number 92, Christmas Trivia. As you can see, there were many specialized images that I downloaded to create this video over a period of several days. If I hadn't moved them into the project folder, I might have deleted one or more of them from the download folder or even renamed them. Now, too many times users use a photo or a video in their project based on the file residing in some other location. Now, Power Director works just fine and locates that media file all the time, except when the user unknowingly decides to rename that file or move it just for housekeeping reasons to another folder on their drive. Then The next time they start up their project in PowerDirector, it fails to load the media file. And often users want to blame PowerDirector for their project not loading correctly when it was their own fault. Just keep everything together in a project folder and PowerDirector will remain fat, dumb, and happy. Now, if you utilize these project folders, then in my opinion, it is not really necessary under most circumstances to use the file command to pack project materials, which does basically the same thing. Namely, it puts all of the material files into one folder. If you do it ahead of time by creating a project folder, then you don't have to worry about accidentally renaming or moving the original media file. Tip number 5. And finally, one tip that really doesn't need to be said is use the favorites feature whenever available. For example, I'll click on transitions and then my favorites. Now there you can see that I use the fade transition all the time along with a few more. I have fade marked as one of my favorites, making it easy for me to find. If I didn't have it marked as a favorite, just which category should I click on to find it? Is it in the basic category? Well, you'd think so, but it's not there. You can waste a lot of time until you end up scrolling down and selecting the general category, which is where fade calls its home. Now that is why I have favorites. And the same philosophy exists in the titles category. In my favorites there, I have one called Corporate Callout 18. If I didn't have it marked as a favorite, in which category would I have to go to find it again? Well, the easiest method is to just use the search function for the titles category. And if I type in Corporate Callout, it immediately locates them all. But what if you don't quite remember the name? Well, once again, that is why I have favorites. So that's all the tips that I have for you today. Thanks for watching and make sure to click on the subscribe button. I'll see you next time.